If they ain't cooking, I don't want it.
What's going on, everybody? This is another episode of the Ins and Out D podcast with the one and only DT Sensei. Check out your boy on all social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and much more. We are back again for another episode. We are here to be talking and recapping the Washington Commanders and free agency of all the moves they have made so far, whether it is signing, re-signing guys, signing some new guys to the team, or we're trading for some guys. Obviously, we're going to talk about some two big trades over here once again. But overall, since this offseason, I definitely love what they have done so far. Could they be a little bit more aggressive? I think they've been fairly aggressive enough, and especially the moves they've done, especially one of the moves that we're going to be talking about. But I know obviously a lot of people are going to be picking on like the one position that has been a little bit glaring, but there's still some moves made. The NFL draft is coming up, so I'm not really pressed about when we're talking about the edge rusher position. But a lot of things I expected this offseason, I expected them to address two things, and if those can go back to watch the video that I made last month, I literally said trenches was going to be the big emphasis. Trenches, offensive line and defensive line. And the Commanders are currently addressing those two spots right now. That's what wins championships. You saw what the Philadelphia Eagles done against the Kansas City Chiefs. They won a Super Bowl with a front four that was rushing only four. Didn't have to blitz a single time. And their offensive line dominated Kansas City Chiefs. So when I assessed this team, the Commanders, those were the two spots that were definitely lacking. Now, obviously, there's some other spots on the team that was lacking as well. But those are the two big things that helps you win the Super Bowl. Those are things that make you a dominant team. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some of the moves they made so far in free agency. All right, first up, obviously, this one makes complete amount of sense. Obviously, a lot of people been debating about the tight end position, with Ben Sinnott. We drafted him last year. I think he really just has a role with his team right now. He is the H-back as with Kyle Juszczyk is for the 49ers. Adam Peters came from San Francisco. So Zach Ertz will come back for another year with the Washington Commanders. Look, and this was one of the best signings, obviously, last year. I know a lot of people talk about, he's a little bit older than Tufo. He's, he doesn't provide yards at the catch like a lot of these tight ends. But think about this relationship between Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz as like Tony Romo, Dak Prescott / Jason Witten. Jason Witten was just a guy, the reliable target. He's able to get those key first downs, the 5 to 8 yard games, keep the chains moving. He's a chain mover, and that's what you need for a young quarterback to be confident in when he's on the field. So Zach Ertz, he brings that. Zach Ertz was the most reliable target on 3rd and 4th downs. He's the guy to go to when the moments are needed. And like it says up here, he was the healthiest he has been. He maybe missed a game or so. I remember he had a concussion, but he was fairly healthy this year. So Zach Ertz come back. It was not a surprise. You had to get Jaden Daniels, one of his most reliable targets, as he grows from his rookie year. Next one, another one that makes completely too much sense is Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner, let's face it, folks, Bobby Wagner was the best Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu were the best linebackers we had in I don't know how long. And Bobby is the one that obviously, when you talk about getting guys lined up, instilling leadership, this guy is a all-pro player. This guy won a Super Bowl. This guy played on one of the most ferocious defenses in the past decade, the Legion of Boom. And he comes over to the Washington Commanders, a team that was missing a couple of guys, a lot of young guys to coach up. And he was a coach on the field for this defense. Now, obviously, we're not getting to Bobby Wagner in his prime, but he still carries on another season of 100 plus tackles, 3.5 sacks. He made definitely key plays this year. Bobby, it was without question Bobby was coming back. And then the relationship he has with the team as well, with J.D. Daniels, both Cali guys. And obviously, he's going to finish some time at Howard University. So those two signings, Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz, just make completely, truly amount of sense for those guys to come back. And then here's the next one, John Bates. So obviously a lot of people talked about the John Bates signing. Around league circles, they were talking about how he was very conveyed for what he does. Like, John Bates only has one goal and one goal overall, and that's the block. John Bates is, and I know we're probably going to over exaggerate. Some people are going to say we're going overboard, but he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, and they saw that and they gave him the money for it. But I also, honestly, in my opinion, and I went on the podcast on the Red Zone DC Media channel and Red Zone in the Lab with Deuce, if you were to push a Ben Sinnott into that John Bates role, I wouldn't have a problem with that as well. But obviously, they saw suit that they wanted to get this guy paid for the scene. He wanted to come back, so that's definitely a good thing. So John Bates on a 3-year, $20+ million deal to block and catch, averages 68 catches per year. You see the numbers right there for his overall career. He has 61 catches. No. Okay, so somebody got that wrong. They got 61 catches and 88 receptions, which is basically the same thing, but he definitely has less catches, though. 592 yards and 2 touchdowns. So John Bates, our best blocking tight end, is coming back to the Washington Commanders. Next up, we have Zane Gonzalez. Zane Gonzalez coming back. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. The only reason I'm not a big fan of this is because I obviously know that kicker was the one position that they thought they solved last year, but they had to cut McManus due to legal issues outside of work. So we kind of went through kicker last year, and Zane Gonzalez was the last one who the incumbent starter last down the stretch. So I guess you give him another shot, but I mean, I would bring another kicker or draft a kicker with one of those 7th-round picks. And yeah, I just think the kicker just need competition overall. But I mean, I get bringing him back. Me personally, I didn't hate Austin Seibert as a kicker. The only thing with Seibert was I knew he didn't have a strong leg. And a lot of people are going to get on him for, the Dallas Cowboy game where we had a shot. With me personally, in that situation, I probably just went for 2. But, I mean, they're bringing Zane Gonzalez back to kick field goals, but I expect some competition at that position as well. Tressway, look, that's just very simple. Tressway coming back to the team, longest tenure commander. Kind of surprised it's a 1-year deal. I don't know if that's hinting towards something in the future. But Tressway has been one of our best players in the past couple of years, and this was his best year because, he had a quarterback that was, through a 3-game stretch, he didn't have a punt. So that boy leg was fresh as I don't know until, we played against the Browns, played against the Ravens, a little bit stiffer defenses, so that's when he can punt. But when he punts, he's one of the best punters in the league. Chris Rodriguez. Now, I kind of lost my thought on what was the tender exclusive rights. What is that for? But Chris Rodriguez coming back to the running back room, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's obvious that the Commanders are going to be drafting a running back in this room with B. Rob, also Eckler. So Rodriguez had a solid couple of stretches this year. His best game was against the Titans, had 94 yards rushing and scored a touchdown fourth quarter. I like it. I like bringing a guy back with some experience. At first, when the preseason started, it looked like he was very struggling to learn this offense. But as the season went along, he started to find the hole better, started to be more decisive as a runner. So, shout out to Chris Rodriguez coming back, man. I mean, a lot of people were saying Chris Rodriguez should have had opportunities later on during the stretch of the playoff, which I tend to agree, but they just didn't do it. All right, next running back they're bringing back is Jeremy McNichols. He was a surprise last year in the run game. This is his best season by far. He was a good replacement for when Oscar Eckler was out, for when Brian Robinson was out. He kind of has both. Like it's just saying in this, like he has the ability to be an inside runner, but he also has a little bit of speed and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. But once again, like we keep saying, they're going to add a running back to this room. So I'm not actually sure how many running backs will make it. We'll get there when we discuss that point. But McNichols definitely coming back. I definitely agree with the signing for him to come back. Marcus Mariota re-signing with the Commanders make too much sense. Coming back another year. Being in the same room with Jaden Daniels, having that relationship with him, letting him grow. This is the second year for Jaden is so crucial because a lot of people are already trying to put down that he's going to have a sophomore slump. So who's better to realize the up and downs of a top 5 pick than Marcus Mariota? Mariota also played in some games this year. He played in the Carolina Panthers game and played in the Cowboys game in the season. He definitely showed out. So shout out to Marcus Mariota because he definitely had a shot to get another job or start a job somewhere, in my opinion. I think the Raiders at one point were looking at him before they went to the Geno Smith trade. But good to bring continuity back in that room. Next up, they re-signed Michael Dieter. Okay. I think they could have done better than bringing back Dieter because Dieter definitely struggled down the stretch when he was asked to be center and I think played some guard for a bit. Tyler Biadasz, Sam Cosby got dinged up at some certain points. I'm not. I get it, but I'm not crazy about bringing Michael Dieter back. But I'm not really expecting him to play this year. Hopefully, our guys stay healthy all year long. Okay. Excuse me with the coughing, y'all. Oh, so okay. So we're already going to the trades. There's definitely still moves that I'll probably get to y'all about too. I probably gotta find it. Obviously, Debo Samuel trade. We talked about it on the channel. Look, I love it. I love it as we did more evaluation. He's going to be a weapon for this offense to provide with Terry McLaurin, and hopefully they draft another guy alongside with them. But the one trade that completely shocked everybody was Laramie Tunsil. These dudes traded for Laramie Tunsil, bro. I mean, oh my God. They got a bodyguard. So obviously, this tells us that they had different views about the offensive line. A lot of people were like, "We don't see the offensive line the same as everybody else." Those conversations and stuff. But the offensive line could have been better, and this is what they did. They traded for one of the best left tackles in football, which also leaves some versatility things they could do with Brandon Coleman. Nick Allegretti, Andrew Wiley. They restructured his contract. This is definitely the highlight of this offseason so far. To bring a all-pro caliber player to an offensive line that made strides last year. And Brandon Coleman definitely played above expectation, but he's more likely better suited at guard, or there are some talks about him playing right tackle. If he could be a right tackle in this league, hey, look at his age. It could be a right guard in this league. Hey, look at his age and potential. Then that means you'll be able to lock up at least 4 positions on the offensive line. Then the only concern you will really have is the spot either between Nick Allegretti or Andrew Wiley, which I think for Andrew Wiley, they want to be a swing again. I don't think I have a problem with that. I mean, they already restructured his deal to a point where, okay, like, possibly play right here at a certain time then, but the Laramie Tunsil trade, this is definitely an A+. This is the best move so far this offseason. They reloaded on the trenches, and they got a franchise quarterback to go with a franchise tackle. All right, so now, okay, so this actually is updated. This is why I need to watch my mouth and scroll it now. So these are the players that are joining the Commanders. Obviously, let's go ahead and talk about Javon Kinlaw. So Javon Kinlaw is a former first-round pick, played for the San Francisco 49ers, left 49ers, went to the Jets, played under Robert Saleh, who was also the 49 defensive coordinator. He comes to play for us. Now, the problem is that Kinlaw, he's not everybody's cup of tea in the sense of defensive tackle. He's had a very up and down career so far. He has not lived up, obviously, to being a first round pick, but for some reason, the staff has given him an opportunity to remake himself. Now, what will be his role here? I have no idea. Is he going to be playing some type of elephant edge rusher in this defense where he's helping to stop the run, or he's going to be a defensive tackle that will replace the production we had when we had Jonathan Allen? Those questions remain to be seen, but I think I'm going to give it a chance because defensive line is a need in the trenches, and who knows, playing under DQ, maybe they can use his quickness and things and coach him up, and he could be the best version of himself. We've seen a couple guys come over here in love with Dan Quinn and Joe Woods' defense. Next player is Will Harris. Now, I went back and watched a couple games of him so far. Obviously, he comes in after we had Jeremy Chin. And honestly, I don't think we're going to miss a beat with Jeremy Chin being gone. I think this guy is, like I said up here, a versatile playmaker. That he played the strong and the free. I think he's going to play strong over here. He is a tackler, and he make plays when needed. He's a very solid player, and that's okay for any type of defense or any type of team running organization. So Will Harris, I see a guy that could benefit if the pass rush especially is there, and a guy that can help contribute and make plays for this defense. I like the move. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people wanted Jeremy Chin back for the Commanders, but sometimes you gotta let people test the market, and 2 years, $60 million. That's what his market. He signed with the Oakland Raiders. Next up, they signed Eddie Goldman. Yeah, I ain't heard that name in a long time. Eddie Goldman used to play for Florida State when they won the national championship. So Goldman comes in after last. I think at one point he was reminded. I think 1 year. I could have sworn he retired at one point. and he came back last year, and he played for Atlanta. So he was at Atlanta. Look at his numbers right here: 191 tackles, 14 sacks, 24 quarterback hits. Well, yeah, it did say that he did retire after 2021. Returned 2024. Oh, so yeah, he was out for 3 years. Dang. Okay, so I mean, Eddie Goldman coming here, he's going to be playing some of the nose tackle position in the 5-man fronts that we're going to be running to help stop the run. So Goldman's going to be a run defender for our defense. Next up, we have is Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones, corner from New England Patriots. He comes in after we let go of Benjamin St. Juste and Michael Davis. This is 10 times the upgrade over both of these guys. He's a veteran, played 11 years, won 2 Super Bowls with New England Patriots when Tom Brady was still there. He's consistent, make plays after plays. He's kind of built like Mike Sanders still. He is 5'9", but I think he plays bigger than his size. So you get a guy that could go in the secondary of this defense. Secondary is getting way better. Now, it all hinges on, obviously, on the other guy, the opposite side. That's Marshawn Lattimore, who we traded draft picks for. All right, next Patriot actually is Deatrich Wise. Now, this last name is familiar. His brother did play here a couple of years ago. His name was Daniel Wise. So I remember Deatrich Wise from, if I'm not mistaken, he came from University of Arkansas. He's played a lot of football games. He gets to the quarterback, though, very sneakily. He gets to the quarterback and he makes plays. Definitely love this move. I think he's going to be a spot starter for us. I think he's going to start a couple of games where he'll be rotational in the lineup. The next one is KJ Osborne. Okay, so personally, I was not crazy about this move because we signed him last year, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we need a boost in the passing game, and I think Osborne would bring that. But he wasn't getting that in New England, and New England was struggling with wide receiver help. That's kind of alarming. But with fairness, I believe he came in where it was kind of difficult for Sense to learn the offense. So he only had one opportunity to play, and that was against Atlanta, but he didn't get no targets. He was more of a blocker, and he was an okay blocker at that too. So looking at that, I think, they're going to give another opportunity to look at some things in the wide receiver room. I'm going to pull out the rest of the moves too, because there's definitely some moves missing that I want to go over. Okay, I had to go on another site. So that way y'all can get some of the full moves. Okay, so you already touched on some of that. Okay, so Noah Brown is coming back. I like that move because he has some great chemistry with Jaden Daniels. He was the possession receiver, get the tough catches out the way. He was on pace for 700 yards before injury, so definitely like this move. Another guy we signed outside was Jake Martin. He was a defensive end for the Bears. Also played with the Texans. I believe he's going to be more of the Dante Fowler type. Situational pass rusher. Come in and make some plays on third and longs. Get some sacks. Get some pressures. To help out with the defense. Another player they're bringing back is Keon Seymour. I forgot he was on the roster, but he's more of a special team guy. Hopefully he doesn't have to see the field. Trenton Scott comes back after last year playing right tackle and left tackle, I believe, and guard. It definitely makes sense because Cornelius Lucas has left for free agency. He's going to be playing for the Cleveland Browns now. So you need a swing tackle option in the room, and Trenton Scott just makes a lot of sense. Now, they possibly could have signed somebody else, but I think they trust him more than what people give him credit for. Sheldon Day returns after being signed mid-season to help shore up the run defense in the defensive tackle room. He was definitely solid down the stretch for the playoff run. Nick Ballore comes back for another year playing linebacker on special teams. Um, I think he led the team with special team tackles and made play after play, bro. Um, that's definitely someone that I would definitely would have re-signed based on special teams because special teams was definitely good for us last year. All right, and to look at a couple more moves we have made so far, we have Noah Iganagami returning in the corner room. That will be corner 4. Last year played for the slot. He was surprisingly good, underratedly. I know people are going to try to bring PDS scores and stuff like that, but he played beyond the metrics, bro. He played very good for us. Clean Farrell, defensive end, returns for the Washington Commanders. He's more of a run defending end, the actual pure pass rusher. He did have 3.5 sacks for us last year, but just a guy that knows the room and probably be competing for one of those spots on the team. And the last signing, 2 signings that I know of, has been Nate Herberg. He is a guard center combination player. Came from Pittsburgh. Definitely need him for depth. And if he can play center, I mean, honestly, I would. Well, actually, no. It says guard. So he's definitely going to be the swing and backup player for the interior offensive line, which I definitely don't have a problem with. And the final and latest signing so far has been that the Washington Commanders have re-signed defensive end Jalen Holmes. Jalen Holmes also, like Sheldon Day down the stretch, helped out the Washington Commanders on the defensive line, made some plays. I think he had 2.5 sacks on the season. So here's my overall thoughts. Overall, the Washington Commanders, they made moves that made sense. They re-signed majority of their free agents and added a couple guys that fit the culture and that could shore up some things on the defense and offensive side. Now, they're not done whatsoever. So we're still in the free agency period. There could be guys being released post June 1st. Could be guys getting released any instant now. And they could pop some interest for the Washington Commanders. You never know. But I think I love what they have done so far. They're still following the formula of last year. Just add a little bit more spice to it. They traded for Debo Samuel. They traded for Larry Tunzel. They were in talks about Myles Garrett. They're in talk probably right now still, but I think they're going to back off of that. Or Shea Henderson of the Cincinnati Bengals. This team is being very proactive about the things they want to accomplish. And I love that they're able to re-sign majority of their guys. I love it. And I think definitely made some moves that caught some people off guard and caught some eyes to some people. But that's all I have for y'all tonight, man. With that being said, this is the Ins and Out the podcast. Just a little quick free agency video. Talk about some of the moves they have made so far. Click like, subscribe to the channel. Help me get my views up. Also, follow my other content as well. I'm also on Red Zone Lab. I do Only a Huddle podcast, Enters the Lab podcast, and also on my channel personally, I also do the Command Time podcast. That is all Commanders podcast, and this is all Commanders /NFL podcast. So next up on the list for Ins and Out the podcast, yes, we are going to be doing the post-mock post-free agency. It's a lot of picks we lost. We only have 5 picks, but definitely going to be some players that we could like and what to do at 29. And I'll explain what I would do at pick 29 and beyond. So with all that being said, it's your boy DT of the Ins Out the podcast. We will see you guys next time. Y'all have a good night.
If they ain't cooking, I don't want it.